Bulletcast for life.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Bulletcast. We are about the number 57th sports recreational podcast. Yet again, we are the only sports recreational podcast that is simply just too sweet. I'm your host. I'm the pod father. I'm like Billy Kay and Peyton Royce. I'm simply iconic. And on the line, I have a man who has been the Bulletcast champion 3 times. One more time more than myself. The Canadian Destroyer, Brandon. How's it going, buddy?
It's going good. The reign of Mex Mendoza as Bulletcast champion is still under protest over here.
Hey, look, I saw him on Monday. I told him straight up, like, you're losing that title next week. Like, his title run is going to be very short, so we don't have to worry about it.
We shouldn't be worrying about it in the first place because it should be mine.
Look,
but
man,
whatever.
You have your contractual obligated rematch, final battle. That's all you. Nobody else. Just you and whoever the hell the champion is. Yeah?
Whatever.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's start off with outside of the ring. So, NXT UK, they will be having their first ever takeover. It's going to be TakeOver Blackpool on January 12th of 2019. I'm excited. I'm excited for this.
Full disclosure, I have not watched one episode of NXT UK, but I probably will be watching the TakeOver because if they're just like the regular NXT shows, the TakeOver should be really good. There's, I think, going to be some big names on that show who I'm going to be familiar with, so I will check it out even though I don't watch the NXT UK product. It's kind of like back in the day when I didn't really watch NXT TV. I just watched takeovers. That's good enough for me.
I'm still on that, just watching takeovers. I need to start watching the week to week again. But you know, NXT TakeOver UK, the UK tournament that had to crown the first ever UK champion. I really enjoyed that. It was on like at noon on a Saturday. I thought wrestling this early on a weekend, that's great. I loved everything about it. I think TakeOver Blackpool is going to be a success. I already see it coming. All right, so All Elite Wrestling. Let's talk about this. So I guess the rumors are true. You know, circulating about Cody Rhodes, the Bucks, and the Elite, along with Jericho, possibly starting a wrestling promotion. There were rumors about this. I was skeptical about putting it on the show. But after the trademarks that have been filed, I guess we have to talk about this. So a group called All Elite Wrestling, LLC, who lists their address as 1TI88 Bankfield Drive in Jacksonville, the address of the stadium owned by Shad Khan, which also serves as the home of the field for the Jacksonville Jaguar franchise. The trademarks that were listed: All Elite Wrestling, or AEW, AEW Double or Nothing. Cody dropped the Double or Nothing at the end of All In. AEW All Out, and then Tuesday Night Dynamite, which, you know, actually, let's just get your thoughts on all this real quick.
Well, it's very exciting if this is going to come to fruition. If we get a new wrestling organization, it makes a whole lot of sense if it is going to be on Tuesday night. I think the show name itself, Tuesday Night Dynamite, is a little corny. I wish they could have done a better. I think, like, honestly, like All Out is probably a better just weekly television show name, but that's just me. It's probably going to be the second or third iteration of All In. But if it's going to be the Elite cast joining up and maybe doing something completely different we've never seen before in terms of benefits, and they try to like work out something where it's like the wrestlers organization, it should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, Tuesday Night Dynamite, I'm kind of okay with it. You know, it's not a Tuesday or Texas or anything like that. But of course, you know, SmackDown's moving to Fox in October of next year. They're going on Friday nights, so that Tuesday night slot's wide open. Great strategy by these guys. I really am excited. I can't wait to see what happens. You know, I think All Out will be one of their big pay-per-views, and Double or Nothing will be the same. Maybe I can't wait to see like how it's gonna look. Like the logo, I'm assuming the logo will be similar to the All In one. If they have championships, can't wait to see the designs of those, and I'm excited for this. I really am.
Yeah, I mean, the Khan family has deep pockets. They're way richer than Vince McMahon is, so if they want to take this thing seriously, they can throw a whole bunch of money at it. But then on the other hand, you don't want them to get too involved since they're not really wrestling people. You don't know how that exactly is going to work out. But it should be a fun ride. And it's really, now that there's, Kaz and the entire SCU and other people kind of joined in that are linked to being the Elite and on ROH roster, I think ROH really needs to look themselves in the mirror and see what they're going to be doing the next couple years, because right now the Elite is basically their top act in ROH, and if all of them leave, and SCU and some other people involved, Marty Scurll still is with them for a little bit longer, but if he jumps ship, that's going to be very bad for them. So I think ROH definitely needs to lock some talent up, or at least look for other talent that they can bring in.
Yeah, going back to the Khan family, they should just give these guys the money for it, back them financially, and let Cody, the Bucks, and whoever else, whatever other wrestler or wrestlers are involved in this, let them run the show, let them book, let them decide what goes on, We don't need another TNA fiasco where Dixie Carter doesn't know what the hell she's doing, or Ted Turner or anything like that.
Well, I mean, when Ted Turner did it didn't exactly... It was... I think it worked out.
It worked out for quite some time, until, Vince bought him out. Yeah. All right.
Well, that's a whole different discussion.
That is a whole different discussion. Go watch the Eric Bischoff documentary on WWE Network. It is very good. It's very tasteful. All right, moving on from that, Lars Sullivan. There have been vignettes being promoted on Raw that he's going to be appearing soon. I guess he's getting the call up. And so I want to talk about some stuff that's been brought up from his past. Now, he was in I guess these were bodybuilding message boards back in the day, and his name was Disenfranchised. That was his message board name. And he said some pretty derogatory stuff about African Americans. He said KFC was poor people food. He said stuff about Stephanie McMahon, like she's pretty hot, thanks for the fat video. And then there was this one quote about suicide, now I'm going to read it. He said, "If you do choose to kill yourself, I would suggest taking other people out with you. I'm not saying you should go on a rampage on say, a college campus and try to top some Asian kid from VTech, but at least get some female part before you die, if you know what I'm saying." So yeah, what are your thoughts on all this?
Well, this is the first time I'm hearing about this, so it's kind of weird, and I don't exactly know the validity of all this, because my sources, my people that I follow, I haven't heard them talk about this at all. If there is validity to it, if there is, if he did actually say those things, then obviously it's unacceptable. You can have the excuse of him being a young guy and probably saying stupid stuff when you're young, but sometimes you draw a line. It's like when Hulk Hogan said, yes, Hulk Hogan was in his 50s when he said that, but regardless of what time of when it was, it's still not a nice thing to say.
Yeah, we actually got a fan mail question kind of going back to Hogan and relating to this stuff, so I mean, we'll talk about that in a little bit. All right, let's talk some Starrcade. Did you watch, buddy?
I watched a little bit of it, and then I realized all the good stuff that happened, they didn't really show it. No Bray Wyatt. And for the most part, it was a house show, which was what you should have expected from this.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, they're airing Starrcade? I must watch, I guess that's really just what it was, to get us to watch, to see what's going on. But it was okay. It was whatever, Nothing more, nothing less, really. Nothing more.
I mean, if they want to put house shows on the network, I'm fine with that. It's more content, but it's going to exploit the house show business because they repeat just so much stuff, and there's already so much original programming that I don't think they need to be putting more on the network.
Yeah, it was okay. That's all I'll give it. It was okay. All right, let's talk some This Day in Wrestling. Survivor Series 2005. I think we had a match pick of the week from that pay-per-view a couple weeks back. Yeah, but this was the pay-per-view where Orton starts his run of amazing Survivor Series performances, except this year because for whatever reason he wasn't even on the show. Probably the greatest Survivor Series performer of all time. He starts his sole Survivor thing. He wins, and he gets assaulted by The Undertaker, continuing that whole feud. They had John Cena and Kurt Angle. They had a WWE title match. I think Ric Flair and Triple H had a last man standing match here. So, yeah. What are your thoughts on this?
To be honest, I don't exactly remember much from this show. If you showed me the card and if I went to go rewatch it, maybe some things would have sparked my remembrance of it, but I don't think I watched this live, so nothing really stands out from this show.
Yes. All right, so on this day in wrestling from 2014, CM Punk makes an appearance on, I guess, former buddy Colt Cabana's podcast, The Art of Wrestling. This is the infamous podcast where he airs his grievances about WWE months after leaving the company. Talks about being fired on his wedding day, talks about having a staph infection, talks about a doctor not wanting to cut the lump right out of them, talks about working injured, buries Chris Amon, and then, of course, that leads to the whole trial. I think Amon filed for a court case in like early 2015, and as we saw this year, all that finally got resolved. And then there's still some drama leading from it, of course, Punk allegedly promising to pay Colt Cabana's legal fees, and Punk's like, sorry, bud, you're on your own. First of all, what are your thoughts on the episode?
Thanksgiving that I'll never forget. It just randomly drops on Thanksgiving. I think my boy Wade Keller was the reason why they dropped the thing so early, because I think he reported that CM Punk and Colt Cabana had a podcast in the works, and then they dropped it, and so everyone's Thanksgiving that day was all thrown for a loop because everyone had to stop and listen to this podcast. And this was the first part of the 2-part series. The second part was a little bit lackluster because it was supposed to be like a Q&A, and they didn't really answer any Q&As. But the first part where he just goes over the entire story, I think I've listened to that podcast at least 3 times in its entirety. It's just probably the most infamous and most important podcast in pro wrestling history.
Yeah, it's certainly one of the most important. I'd say it's probably one of the most important podcasts in digital media audio. Actually, this is the first ever podcast I ever listened to, this exact episode, so it's the reason why I'm the podfather. It's probably one of the reasons why the Bulletcast exists till this day. I remember listening to it, and I'm not going to lie, I was just enthralled with everything that Punk was talking about, giving the real ins and outs of how he felt. He talked about Vince McMahon and how Vince, I don't think it was really clear that Punk was like walking out for good. He thought Punk was just taking a little break off, and how Vince hugged him. So it sounds like he and Vince had a pretty good relationship. It was just Hunter that he really didn't get along with. Hunter was kind of just standing there like, oh, yep, bye, okay. So yeah, but I mean this podcast, I think I'm gonna have to go back and listen to it. I haven't listened to it since I listened to it 4 years ago. And it's just it's a masterpiece in more ways than others. All right, moving on from that, the British Bulldog would have been 56 years old today. Happy birthday, Davey boy. Your son's doing good stuff in Japan. Any thoughts on the British Bulldog's birthday?
I mean, I think it's just crazy. I think obviously he wrestled 20 years ago, and he wrestled in the late 80s and stuff like that. I don't think I realized how young he was at that time, because I would have thought he probably would have been in his later 50s, maybe in his 60s if he was still alive today. So, unfortunately, just one of the many deaths that happened in wrestling around that time. So,
yeah,
very melancholy.
R.I.P. to the British Bulldog. All right, fan mail. Let's get into it. Let me find it first. We don't have a fan mail from Mr. Toledo this week. I'm sad.
Maybe. We've been doing these phone call podcasts. He's not interested in these. We're dropping the ball.
I mean, we're doing this on a Tuesday night. He normally sends them like a Thursday, so
maybe he can send it to utrmailbag@gmail.com. He can be the first ever emailer of that mailbag segment.
There we go.
Maybe.
All right. So we got a new one. Jack of all trades. How do you book Rowdy Ronda Rousey losing the Raw Women's Championship? Oh. Brandon, you want to go first?
If you're going to book her to lose the championship, I mean, maybe I'm a proponent of less titles. So if you want to put all the women on one show, put all the tag teams on another show, and you can build this up to the man versus the baddest woman on the planet at WrestleMania, title for title. You know, after this, everyone's going to be on one show, and they're going to see who the best in the world is. So I would go Becky versus Ronda, title for title, to combine the rosters.
I like that. You know, I've been a proponent of that too. You know, but then again, I was thinking just now while you were talking, I wanna call back to her UFC career with when Holly Holm kicked her in the head. I want to call back to something like that. I don't know who's on the Raw roster right now that throws a decent kick. I'm trying to think. Probably like a Mickie James or something. I don't know. If we build Mickie up or something like that, get her in a real hot feud with Ronda Rousey, because I think Mickie has one good story truly left in her. So we do something like that, and then they talk about how Ronda, she eventually did have to leave UFC. She went to a dark place after that loss to Holly Holm. And then, you know, they're going through the motions in the match. Everything's happening. Mickie hits the Mickie DDT. That doesn't get the job done. Rousey gets her in the armbar. Mickie is able to get to the ropes or whatever, and she's asking the ref why didn't she tap? She tapped or whatever, and then she just walks over and bam, she gets clocked right in the head with a Mick kick. 1, 2, 3. Nice little callback to her UFC career. WWE doesn't really like to tie things and have continuity nowadays. Let's get some of that flown into there, and then we give Ronda, like, because I know she's missing time with family and stuff like that. I've seen from her YouTube channel. Give her like 2.5 months off. Let her recharge her batteries a little bit. Then she can come back pretty hot, ready to get the title back. Something like that.
Well, if you're going to go the surprise, maybe I wouldn't say underdog with Mickie James, but I think Mickie James isn't the best choice to defeat Ronda because I think she's already kind of in the position she's going to be at. So if you're going to pick someone, okay, if I want to do another one, a kind of a more serious, like, booking decision, I think if you eventually turn Ronda heel, because I think Ronda can be a great heel down the line, and I kind of think that's how she was back in her UFC days, especially at the end of her run when she faced Holly Holm. Holly Holm was, you know, this wholesome pastor's daughter, and she was just going at Holly Holm, and she didn't really need to be doing all that. And if you can turn Ronda heel and you put her up against, I don't know, Kairi Sane or Candice LeRae or somebody in NXT right now that could be seen as an underdog and not someone who we think can honestly beat Ronda Rousey, and if you keep her strong the entire time, you get her on kind of a fluke, unexpected win, I think that could be a big pop. I mean, just look what happened with Goldberg and Brock Lesnar. When Goldberg speared Brock Lesnar out of his shoes and beat him very quickly, it was a memorable moment, and I think you can capture that same intensity with Ronda Rousey.
No, that's true. I feel it. I understand it. I feel it. I think that's really, really possible. I really do. Yeah. I'm trying to think what else. All right, so we have another fan mail segment from Dre Einstein, and I quote, with all this talk about Lars Sullivan's recent message boards mishap, why is it that this guy still has a job, or if we don't know what's going to happen behind the scenes, my bad for speaking of that now, but then we have guys like him still employed, and we have Hulk Hogan coming back after what he did, and then we have people like Chyna really paved the way for women in the business, and she won't be inducted into the Hall of Fame because if you Google her name, porn will pop up. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think all three of them are their own special little case. I think Chyna should be in the Hall of Fame, no doubt about it. She should have been in there before she died. And when it comes to Hulk Hogan, as I said, Hulk Hogan was in his 50s when he said that. It makes no excuse as he was down in the dumps. He just got through a divorce. It doesn't matter. The things he said, even just saying the N-word or whatever, it's what he said about black people was atrocious. And then with Lars Sullivan, I still don't know if that's exact. If it is him 100%, and if there's like no other evidence of him saying any racial slurs or anything like that, then I'm more open to giving him a second chance just because he is younger. And especially we see now with a lot of athletes, especially younger athletes, where people go on their Twitters and they say like a dumb joke, 5-6 years ago when they're in high school, and now they're in the big time and they have to ask questions about it. And they haven't really shown that being that type of person anymore, then I don't think you should villainize somebody who did something stupid 10 years ago. And I don't know exactly how old Lars Sullivan is or what happened when he was doing this, but I have more sympathy for what he did compared to what Hulk Hogan did, because he was a grown-ass man and he shouldn't have been saying those things, whether he was being recorded or not.
Yeah. I mean, look at it like this. Hogan legit said, "I'm a racist. I don't like black people." And then he threw out that hard ER, which he should have got knocked out for saying that. But I mean, Lars Sullivan, I mean, I haven't read every single thing from these message boards. I just read what I read to you. Oh, Lars Sullivan's, he's only 30? Wow. Okay, so he was like, I don't know, like 19, 22 when he said stuff like that. Okay. Yeah, so, I mean, I don't know exactly the extent of what Lars Sullivan said, but we can look the other way for now until more stuff.
And my thing is, how do they know exactly that that's Lars Sullivan's account? Is there, like, pictures? Is there, like, something definitively linking him to this account?
That's another thing, too. I mean, I'm looking at, like, the news feed. There's stuff about it, but there's no, like, definitive it was him. So it just says Lars Sullivan could be in big trouble with WWE, caught using racist joke in message board battle. So yeah, I mean, we shall see. We shall see. Alright, in our last fan mail from A. Nguyen. Alright, why does the WWE ring crew keep storing foreign objects under the ring? They have been doing this for years, and mischief ensues every time. You would think they would learn their lesson by now. Kendo sticks and sledgehammers aren't typical ring crew tools. Honestly, I don't know why that keeps happening. For certain matches, tables and ladders and chairs, that's fine. It's absolutely fine. I don't know why people keep storing kendo sticks and sledgehammers and sometimes even a baseball bat underneath the ring. Brandon, do you have any thoughts on this?
Maybe a sledgehammer is technically a tool. Maybe there's something that needs to be sledgehammered. I don't know exactly what that would be, but I don't set up the ring. I don't set up the whole wrestling technical area, whatever you want to call it. I don't do that. Kendo sticks. Maybe there's some people on the ring crew that like to practice martial arts. Maybe they spar in the ring before the wrestlers come in and do their thing in there. I mean, who knows?
Yes, you gotta.
That's my best guess.
You gotta go at it with that Singapore cane before Monday Night Raw starts. Speaking of Monday Night,
maybe they like doing like the lashings for the rookies or something like that. I know it's very terrible. They shouldn't do that, but maybe we need to look into the ring crew.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Monday Night Raw, let's talk about that episode that was Monday Night Raw yesterday. Jesus Christ, what the hell was that? So, Raw opens up with Baron Corbin, Constable Corbin, General Manager-elect Corbin in the ring. He has Lashley and McIntyre with him and all this other stuff. And what did you think of the segment? Just that, first of all, the talking portion.
I thought it was pretty straightforward, just simple heel work, and now it looks like Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler aren't together anymore. He's moved up in the world, and now he's with Lashley and Baron Corbin, and I don't know. As you said, this was not the best episode of Monday Night Raw, and I think with all the heels running rampant and so little baby faces to go against them now that Braun Strowman's hurt, Roman Reigns isn't there, Lashley and Dean have turned, it's just Seth Rollins, and that's about it.
I mean, I wouldn't say. Hold on, going back to the whole Drew thing. I wouldn't say necessarily moving up. I mean, going to Corbin and Lashley's moving up. Dolph was a former world champion.
But, Lashley allegedly main evented WrestleMania.
When?
When he had that match against Umaga or whatever, and it was with Donald Trump.
We all know the last match on a card is the main event. There's no co-main events. There's no double main events. The last match on a show is the main event.
He was the ECW champion.
That wasn't a world championship.
Well, I mean, I think they recognize that as a world champion.
No,
they recognize anything as a world champion.
No, they don't.
I think they do.
Well,
and Baron Corbin, he's the big dog now.
We'll have to look into that. All right, but yeah, so this leads to a match between my man Lashley going up against a man who I walk with, Elias. And so, it becomes no disqualification after Elias gets a DQ victory. And then all hell ensues. Corbin and McIntyre start attacking Elias, and then Bobby Lashley eventually gets the victory.
A hell of a beat down on Elias. The stair spot where whatever, I don't even know what you call that, like the reverse Alabama slam. That was a hell of a spot there, but it was just, especially what they did with Finn Balor and what they've done with Braun Strowman, and we didn't even talk about the promo of Braun Strowman where he's in the hospital. That was a promo.
Yes, it was. It was a promo.
And it looks like his future at TLC is up in the air. Who knows exactly if he's even going to be there? But I don't even know what to say about what's going on with Raw and Corbin and his other goons just attacking everybody. And I don't know. Raw is Raw right now.
It was like the whole show was legit Corbin and Lashley and McIntyre causing mischief. Well, anyway,
it reminds me of like the worst of the Authority.
Yeah, the Authority did get pretty bad. That there was a 2014-15. There was a lull period. I'm not gonna lie. All right, moving on from that, Little Miss Bliss, she becomes the head of the women's division on Monday Night Raw.
I have not really any problem with it. I thought it was awkward when Baron Corbin just out of nowhere was like, "You look good, I look good, so that's why you're ahead of the women's division." It was kind of dumb, and then Renee Young's being like, "Oh, Alexa Bliss is a current member of the women's division, yet she's going to run the whole thing, and yet we're just going to completely ignore that Baron Corbin is technically an active member of the roster, and he main evented Raw." So it was a lot of continuity errors on WWE's part, and I mean, it reminds me of when AJ was general manager for Raw. So I kind of get the same feel with that. She's fine. I think it's a little sad that she's doing this, because I think that means either they're taking precautions because she's not cleared yet, or they just don't want to clear, or they don't want to do anything with her physically because they're afraid she might get hurt again. So kind of sad for Alexa Bliss that she's not able to wrestle, but she's a great talent on the mic, and that's honestly where she's the best at. So if she's just on TV cutting promos being a heel, I guess that's the best utilization of her.
Yes, I will miss Little Miss Bliss inside the ring, but on the mic, backstage, being a overseer of the women's division, I think that's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to see it. All right, so then Dean Ambrose, the lunatic fringe, he is in his physician's office cutting a promo while he's getting a needle put in his behind, talking about how he won't be at Raw, but he's coming for Seth at TLC. Thoughts on this?
The delivery itself was fine. I felt it was kind of weird that they had two separate promos inside a doctor's office, but maybe they just ran out of ideas. The delivery from Dean was fine, but I kind of don't like that he's kind of the new Elias, where he just trolls the crowd now when he's, telling that they stink and smell and doesn't want to get hepatitis or something. And it's just like, I thought Dean could be much better than this as a heel. The match itself, with Seth, it's going to be fun. It's going to be good in the ring, but I just feel like the build-up could be a lot better. And they did the recap of the whole Seth and Dean Ambrose thing, and they left in the part where Dean said that Roman got cancer because of karma for what they did as a Shield, which I guess that just shows that WWE didn't realize the bad thing that they did last week.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, most matches nowadays in WWE, the build isn't really all that great, but then the match itself, they hope because of the caliber of the performers and the match quality that we're going to forget the build and just talk about the match.
Which should not be the case. I mean, look at the Attitude Era. To be honest, a lot of those matches weren't all that great, but the build was so hot and everybody was so over that it didn't really matter that the matches weren't 5-star caliber and Steve Austin wasn't doing 450s. He was just beating everybody up, and everybody loved it.
Yeah, he was kicking butt and taking names, brother. All right, moving on from that, Nia Jax, the face breaker, as she likes to call herself, is cutting a promo talking about her upcoming match with Ronda Rousey for the Women's Championship. Ronda Rousey makes her way out to the ring, and she cuts a promo against Nia. And then, I guess, Jax and Tamina are about to assault Ronda. Then Natalya makes her way out there, and then she gets jumped by the Riot Squad. So, Natalya is coming to help Rousey from a 2-on-1 attack, but then it ended up being Rousey helping Natalya from a 3-on-1 attack. Jump in.
I mean, I don't know what the logic is for why the Riot Squad was, I believe, hanging underneath the ring, because they posted some photos today, basically saying that they were underneath the ring. And I don't know what the logical standpoint is. Were they just there the entire time waiting for Natalya to come out? Do they talk to Nia and say, okay, you're gonna lure Natty out here, and then we're gonna attack her? I thought that was kind of dumb. But before that, with Nia Jax and Ronda Rousey, I actually really liked the promo that Nia Jax cut. I thought it was one of her better heel promos she's ever done. And Ronda Rousey, I think, showed good intensity, and now that she's out of the awkward stage of facing Charlotte and Becky, and she's facing Nia, who is a clear heel and everybody hates her, I think right now Ronda Rousey's in a good position, but if we move down to Royal Rumble and whenever this alleged Becky Lynch versus Ronda Rousey match, then we might see some issues with Ronda getting booed.
Yeah. I mean, we shall see. If she starts to get booed, just let her run with it, Let her be the badass Stone Cold Killer. But, if she's... Hold on, I'm just trying to think. The Bad Reputation, that's a pretty babyface song. Would they have to change the music if she's heel?
No, I mean, she never changed her music at the UFC, and it's people would boo her and not really like her. I don't think the music really makes a difference. I think Daniel Bryan's music, though, Daniel Bryan might have to change his music. I think that's a babyface upbeat song.
I mean, hers is pretty upbeat too. When I hear that, I'm like, oh, I'm about to get pumped. This is kind of a nice little upbeat bop. And then, but if she has something pretty badass, we're like, oh my god, Ronda Rousey's coming out here to kick some ass. She's a killer, straight up. Like Joe's music.
That was her theme song at UFC, and when that song comes on, she's about to raise hell and beat someone's ass. So I think it works either way. And Nia Jax's theme song, it's pretty poppy. She's a heel. You're not complaining that her music needs to be changed.
I mean, well, her song is a bop. I'm singing along with it. I dig it. All right. But I'm just saying, Joe's music. I hear that music. I know a killer's walking down to the ring. Like Austin, the glass breaks. I know hell's about to be raised. Triple H, it's time to play the game. I know the cerebral assassin is about to go out there and kick some ass. I'm just saying. Man, we should have a fan mail question about that, or a separate podcast about that or something. About this music. I don't know.
I mean, I don't think it's the music. I think it's just the way she carries herself. Because, once again, when she was in UFC, I watched almost every single fight she had. When that music comes on, and she has her hoodie on, and she has her mean mug, that song kind of takes on a whole different meaning, and it's like she's ready. She means business, and you better watch out because she's going to tear somebody's arm off.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. I mean, we'll see, though. We'll see. they may go ahead and pull the trigger. I don't know. We'll find out.
And I'm pretty sure they spent a lot of money on those licensing fees, so I think they're going to keep the song.
True. You're right. It's all about the money. It's all about them Benjamins. All right, AOP. They defend their Raw Tag Team Championships against Chad Gable and the glorious Bobby Roode. Drake Maverick takes Bobby Roode's robe during the match, and they cut backstage. He's wearing it in the bathroom, puts it in the toilet, and he pees on it, thus having the AOP hit Roode with their finisher and retain their championships. What the hell was I watching?
I don't know. It's kind of sad what they've done to AOP. I thought having Drake Maverick be their manager, he can add a nice aspect to him that they didn't have without Paul Ellering. And it also kind of made Bobby Roode look stupid, being very materialistic. And yes, I know it's a $10,000 robe or whatever, but focus on the match, and you're playing into their hand, and that's what they want you to do. And I think it's just another case of baby faces looking stupid and more potty humor, which I know Vince McMahon loves, but
yeah, what is
90% of the crowd does not.
I'm not with that, man. Like I was listening to In the Click last week, and my boy Bimbo Jimbo said, Paul Ellering wouldn't have peed his pants. Reference in Survivor Series, he would have took his chokeslam like a man and said, "Thank you, sir." Stuff like that. I mean, I don't know what's going on with Drake Maverick as their manager. Bring Ellering back. He didn't have a problem being on the road. He's old, sure, but he said he didn't have a problem with it. He actually enjoys it and he prefers it. So I don't know why they got rid of him in the first place. They would have won the tag team titles a lot quicker. They would have been more of a force on Raw if they had stuck with my boy Paul Ellering. I'm just saying.
I think the bigger issue is the Drake Maverick pissing himself issue, and now that's his gimmick.
Yeah, that's that Rockstar Spud crap in TNA that really turned me off of the company and the character. So, yeah. All right, moving on from that, my girl Ember Moon defeats Alicia Fox. Ember Moon has a new mixed match challenge partner, Kurt Hawkins. Maybe they won tonight. I don't know. I'm gonna have to go see. I'm gonna have to see if they won tonight. Thoughts?
Doubt it.
Thoughts?
Good for Ember Moon. She should be beating Alicia Fox.
Yes. And my boy Jinder Mahal beats this piece of trash, No Way Jose, as he should.
Surprised No Way Jose's still on the roster. I can't even remember the last time I've seen him on TV.
Exactly. Back there eating catering with that dusty-looking fro.
But technically, he would be like the fifth babyface on the depth chart because they have no babyfaces on Raw. Or maybe Apollo Crews is number 5 and No Way Jose is number 6.
Jinder Mahal could be a great babyface. I'm going to let you know that right now.
Whatever you say, Philip.
Push my boy Jinder. Put him back in the main event scene. I miss it. I love my boy Jinder as champion. He can't hold the Universal title, though. I won't allow it. I'll protest that. Really? No Jinder love?
That's all you.
Wow. Speaking of babyface, let's talk about the top babyface on Monday Night Raw. He is the Intercontinental Champion. He is the architect, Seth freaking Rollins. He issues an IC Open Challenge, and who answers it but my boy Dolph Ziggler. Thoughts on that?
The promo from Seth was fine. I felt like when you do these open challenges, I think people's minds race and they kind of overthink it. And when Dolph Ziggler comes out, it's a disappointment. Yes, it's going to be a good match, but I think people have seen that one too many times, and I think they're hoping for somebody different. Maybe even Apollo Crews. Who knows? I mean, Apollo Crews versus Seth Rollins, that could have been a lot of fun.
That would have been a lot of fun. Ricochet was throwing it out there on Twitter like, hey, me. Mustafa Ali was throwing it out there on Twitter. Even Tommaso Ciampa chimed in on this, and he said, Cena had the U.S. Open Challenge. Rollins currently has the IC Open Challenge, and he says Tommaso Ciampa will never have an Open Challenge because if you want a shot at the champ, you got to earn it. I just had to throw that out there. I thought that was a great tweet by Ciampa. He's such gold on Twitter. But anyway, the match between Rollins and Ziggler was great, and Rollins finally won a match with the Superplex Falcon Arrow.
good for him.
Yeah, so there are rumors going around that the curb stomp is banned again, so that's why he had to win with this. I don't know how true that is, but if it is true, I'm kind of upset about that too.
Well, I like it that people have different finishing moves or moves that can finish a match because, especially in WWE style now, everyone has their finisher and everyone knows that once you hit it, I mean, if you hit it, there's a chance that they're going to kick out, and that's, I think with WWE, their matches kind of get too formulaic, and we know what's going to happen before they even happen. So with Seth adding a new move to his arsenal that can believably finish a match, I think that's always good.
I mean, the point is, like, he's been doing this move for God knows how long, and everybody always kicks out of it, and then he finally picks up a win with it, and we're like, hey, I've been waiting for something like that. So, kudos to him for that. Now he can look...
And it's a big move. I mean, it should technically finish off their opponent, so it makes sense for why Ziggler wouldn't have kicked out of it.
Yes. All right, and then the end of Raw. Baron Corbin has a match with Finn Balor for... I don't even know how many times this has been. And then it turns into a handicap match. Drew McIntyre gets involved, and McIntyre and Corbin defeat Balor. Lashley comes out, they dismantle my boy Finn Balor, and then it's just these guys with my man Lio Rush all standing tall at the end of WWE's flagship show, Monday Night Raw. What the hell was this?
I mean, it's just the heels running rampant on Raw, and it's kind of like back in the day with the NWO just killing everybody, but at least the NWO was over. I don't think these three guys are over collectively. Drew McIntyre has big plans ahead of him, but right now I don't think this threesome is over with the crowd. And this also just shows, like, how come the baby faces aren't, like, working together and trying to band together and beat up everyone, like Seth and Elias and Apollo couldn't come out and try to make a save, or even just have, like, Kurt Hawkins or lower tier guys try to make the save, and then they get thrown aside, and it's just, I don't know, like, why would somebody want to watch Raw right now except for maybe this Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins storyline, which isn't even that good, to be honest, so there's nothing really standing out. You didn't even talk about the great segment with Bayley and Sasha and Alexa Bliss.
I mean, was it really great?
It wasn't great. That's why I wanted to talk about it. It was just another sprinkle on this poop Sunday. I'm going to the John Cena route.
Wow.
No swearing.
Yeah, we're on the radio. We got to be vernacularly correct. There we go. Mm-hmm. Throwing out these...
Because we love the kids.
Throwing out these $10 words. I'm out here. All right, well, let's talk about Smackdown Live. It ended, 2 hours ago? So let's talk about this right now. So, Paige, Paige, she looked very good today. A very, very beautiful woman. She's out there.
Paige always looks beautiful.
Oh, she always looks amazing. Yes, she does. Paige, she's out there and she welcomes back the man. The man is back. Becky Lynch is back, the SmackDown Live Women's Champion. She comes back. She calls out Charlotte. Charlotte and Becky go back and forth for a little bit. Becky was like, Charlotte, I was hoping you were going to give Ronda the beating that I was going to give her, and you got halfway there. You were a little off. And then they start bickering back and forth. And then Paige announces that Charlotte versus Becky, well, for the SmackDown Live Women's title, I think she said the first ever Women's TLC match, which is going to be awesome. I can't wait to be there for that. And then you have the rest of the SmackDown Women's roster, such as Deville, Mandy Rose, who was looking absolutely gorgeous, my girl Carmella, Naomi, Asuka, the Iconics, all those girls. They come out there, and then Paige says there's going to be a Battle Royal later on tonight, and the winner of that will be added into this match, and it will be the first ever Women's Triple Threat TLC match for the SmackDown Live Women's title. What are your thoughts on that?
A whole lot to digest there. So first, Becky Lynch coming back, being clear. That's nice. Glad to see she doesn't have to relinquish the title or take any long-term hiatus from the company. I thought this is what they should have done last week. I'm not going to say Charlotte's like a definitive heel now, but if that's the direction you want to go, you have to put Charlotte against Becky right now to show that you're supposed to boo Charlotte because she doesn't like Becky, and they didn't go full on, like, going back and forth and Charlotte saying terrible things about Becky, but I think Charlotte was definitely the heel in that situation, and Charlotte also said something like, "Oh, I wasn't fighting for you," even though last week she specifically said she was fighting for all the girls in the back, and I even think she name-dropped Becky. So just the writing's a little inconsistent there, but the back and forth between them, I thought Becky carried herself great, as I know she can, and we could get into the Battle Royal itself, but I would have much rather just seen this a one-on-one TLC match. With it being TLC, no one actually eats a pin, you just climb a ladder and grab a title, so I think it would have been much funner one-on-one, but triple threat, it adds one more dynamic in there, more high-octane and a lot more stunts, so I'm not opposed to it, even though I'm not in favor of it.
Yeah. I gotta say this. That line that Naomi dropped, she said, "Hold up, wait a minute, let me put some glow into it." Who the hell wrote that? Who the hell let her say that on TV? God, that was awful.
I mean, I got a little chuckle out of that, even though it's not 2004 anymore. Whenever I don't even know when that line was hot, but
I don't think that line.
Sometime.
I don't think that line's ever been hot. I mean, maybe at a rave, sure, but it's not like I don't know. It hurt me. It hurt me to my core. All right, the Usos, they've been down since day one-ish, and so have I. They defeat the SmackDown Live Tag Team Champions, The Bar.
The entire SmackDown tag division is better than Raw, to be honest, but just everyone, especially the top three people with Usos, The Bar, and New Day, they all just kind of trade wins back and forth. They all have good matches, but who really cares?
You're right. You're right. I mean, we need some fire stories in there. We need some stories that are gonna make us slap our mama because they're so good. You know what I mean?
Or you can just combine everybody so you have much more depth, and you can have more than two. You can have two tag team storylines going on at one point, and as I said, you just have three top tier tag teams. Then everything else, you have the Colognes and Sanity, and like Sanity came in, they're supposed to have Nikki Cross, and where the hell was Nikki Cross during that Battle Royal, by the way?
Dude, honestly, I think that was just like a one-time thing, bro. I'll be honest with you.
So she just shows up to face Becky Lynch, and now she's sent down to NXT again.
I mean, yeah, Charlotte showed up to have a match with Natty on Raw when she was in NXT, then she went back down. Stuff like that happens. I'm sorry, man. I apologize. Alright, then the phenomenal AJ Styles makes his way out in front of the crowd. He has a promo. He talks about how it's been 14 days since he has had the WWE World Heavyweight title. And he talks about Daniel Bryan low blowing him. He talks about how Bryan wasn't at SmackDown tonight, how he wasn't on live events. He said when he was the champ, he showed up to SmackDown. He showed up at live events because this is what he did. That's what he did. And this promo was really passionate. I enjoyed it. What about you?
I thought it was a really good babyface promo from AJ Styles. I thought the Daniel Bryan heel promo from last week I thought was better, but it's just what you would expect from AJ, just what he's been doing in the past, being the top guy in SmackDown, just pulling together. Daniel Bryan not being there, obviously a heelish move, so they got, 2 more SmackDowns to go, so it's going to be interesting to see what both these guys can do together if they do a back and forth or whatever their chemistry can be on the mic.
Yeah, is that match at TLC for the title, is it a TLC match, or?
I believe it's just a straight-up match. The 2 TLC matches at the moment, the women's match and then the Baron Corbin Braun Strowman match, which is up in the air, so maybe they've thrown in the women's TLC match just because they don't know if Braun and Corbin is going to happen. So I wouldn't want it to be that. I'd much rather just be straight-up singles match, and
yeah,
I think that leaves them some loopholes they can use and get Daniel Bryan with the title, even though they don't want anybody doing a job at this point.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, that promo AJ cut, man, like that's the fire I feel every time I lose the Bulletcast title. I have that exact same fire burning inside of me. But I'm gonna get it back, so it's okay. Moving on from that, Shinsuke Nakamura is scheduled to have a match with Rusev, and that's not the case, you know? Nakamura just starts attacking Rusev, hits him with a Kinshasa, and then he hits him with another Kinshasa on the outside, and that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, just Nakamura doing heelish things. Nakamura versus Rusev. They did it at Crown Jewel already, but it wasn't a full-fledged storyline, so if they want to do something, I'm not opposed to Nakamura versus Rusev feud, but we've seen it already. They can have good matches, but at this point, it's so sad how down I am on Nakamura at this point. I keep getting let down, so I'm not going to get my hopes up for anything.
I mean, this was them playing off the thing that happened at Starrcade with Rusev coming out there and attacking or saving Rey Mysterio. That's all this was.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're tying it in somewhat. All right, moving on from that. I didn't even cover the Miz Xavier Woods match. Do you know who won that?
Xavier Woods won, and then Miz was complaining because Shane McMahon didn't have his back, and how are they supposed to be a successful tag team if they don't have each other's backs?
Yeah, man. Look, man, you guys gotta be a successful tag team. You gotta have your partner's back. Like Brandon and I, the reason why we're successful, he has my back, and I have his. Isn't that right, buddy?
Sure.
Wow. I'm a little hurt.
You know, I'm best in the world, Shane McMahon, and you're the Miz.
I mean, the Miz has a hot wife. That's fine.
I'm not going to downgrade the best in the world, Shane McMahon's wife. She is a lovely woman.
Okay, moving on from that, my boy Jeff Hardy's his 20-year celebration in WWE. Even though he was there in like '94, but who was counting? So he's there just talking about his career. Everybody's on the stage celebrating the career of my boy Jeffrey Nero Hardy. He does some delete chants, talks about how he has way better face paint now than he did when he was in WWE like 10-some years ago. And then my boy Samoa Joe, I knew a killer was coming out there because I heard that theme song. He comes out there, he talks about Hardy's career ruining the celebration. Hardy's like, man, we can have a fight right now. We can do this tonight. You know, Joe takes off the towel, he starts to walk down, and then he decides not to, turns around, goes back through Gorilla. Thoughts?
I thought Jeff Hardy, he delivered a nice, I don't want to say it a promo, it was kind of like a speech, just kind of heartfelt, and it felt real. It was kind of weird having Michael Cole be there, but whatever. The Samoa Joe had good intensity. It felt like a real back and forth, but with WWE, I don't trust them to do these, I don't know, alcoholic or bringing up the demons of past storylines. I mean, they've done stuff like this in the past, and I don't have the highest of hopes that they can handle this respectively.
I don't know, man, because going back to the when Punk was really on the straight edge gimmick in his feud with Hardy over the World Heavyweight title back then in '09, that feud was pretty hot, and they discussed Jeff's substance abuse battles, and that story was hot. That story led to the Straight Edge Society being born, and I don't know, man. So stories like that, you know, we need the right performers, and Joe, I think he's the right guy for the job on this current roster, you know, to do something like that.
And they have history at TNA, so I feel if there's anybody on this roster that Jeff Hardy would allow to go that far, I think Samoa Joe's probably one of them. So I don't think there's going to be any tension between these two guys if Joe goes too far, because I think they're cool with each other, and it should be fun. I'm not saying it's going to be a good feud, but I'm just a little weary when they try to go the real routes.
Oh my God! What if they show the footage from Victory Road 2011 with Sting? Oh my God, that'd be so good.
I think you should stay away from that.
I mean, let's really toe the line. Like, let's make it as edgy as we can in this era of WWE. Let's really go there.
I mean, WWE recently have kind of gotten a little bit more violent with the Becky Lynch and Charlotte and Daniel Bryan and all that other stuff. So I wouldn't put it past them to do it, but I just don't think that's something you want on your television. And it was in TNA however many years ago. I don't think a lot of people watching WWE today even know that happened. So when we bring that up, maybe some things are just left unsaid.
I mean, let's give this new era a shot in the arm. Let's give it a little ruthless aggression. I'm all for stuff like that. I'm just saying, All right, moving on from that, Asuka, she wins the Battle Royal, and she will be added to the SmackDown Live Women's Championship match at TLC. Becky, Charlotte, and Asuka for the title in a triple threat match. Thoughts?
This was the only decision that WWE could make if they wanted to please the crowd. Asuka got a big response when all the women came out at the beginning of the show. Everyone was with her. I thought it was a good little showdown she had with Sonya Deville, kind of showing maybe Sonya Deville could be built up as something if she, gets a singles push and is kind of a credible MMA person. And I thank God Asuka won, because if it was anybody else, I probably would be less excited for the match. If I was really excited for it just being Becky and Charlotte, and then when Paige did the announcement saying that somebody else was going to be added, honestly, the only person that I would have been happy with was Asuka, so I'm happy to see that she gets put in the match.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. When Mandy Rose got eliminated, that kind of broke my heart a little bit. I mean, I was like, oh, no, they can't do that to God's greatest gift? She should be in the match. She should be the champion. I'm just going to leave it right there. I'm just going to say that.
I think you and Corey Graves should start a Mandy Rose podcast.
Oh, my God. We should start a Mandy Rose We should start a Mandy Rose fan club. Like, we could be co-executive producers of, like, a highlight reel of her career. So, I don't know. I'm going to have to talk to Corey. I'm going to have to hit him up after the pod, and we're going to have to see. But, yeah, congratulations to Asuka, finally being put back in a somewhat predominant spot after losing to Charlotte back in Mania all those months ago and losing the streak. And hopefully this is the right direction to build her back up. What if they shock us and put the title on her?
I don't think so. I think just the right thing is to keep it on Becky. She's the hottest thing going right now. But then are they dead set on having a Ronda Becky match? Is that the only way you can get her to face Ronda, is have her lose the title, then she wins the Royal Rumble? But
I mean, look at it like this.
I don't know how you get to the Ronda Becky match at this point.
In a TLC match, if she loses the title, she wasn't pinned, she wasn't submitted, so it doesn't really hurt her all that much.
I know, but then you have the whole contractual rematch, and then are you going to have Becky lose again to Asuka? So
not everybody has a contractual rematch. I mean, there are so many guys who still are owed rematches from like 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 years ago.
But I think just having Becky Lynch going up and being a dominant champion, being super cocky, going into the Royal Rumble and just being like, nobody else can beat me, so I'm going to enter in, and she just straight up says, if I win, I'm challenging Ronda Rousey. So
I don't know.
I don't know if you put Ronda Rousey in that match too, but if that is the match that they want, you can. I don't know if you want Becky. It's very difficult right now, and with both of them being the champions. Do you want a champion versus champion? Do you want it with just for one title or both? Who knows at this point?
Yeah. All right, Superstar Spotlight. Who do you got? I got Becky Lynch for coming back. The man was on my screen. I popped huge. I was like, hey, that's what I need to see right now. I like how her Titantron, her graphic is the man. I love everything about it.
You kind of stole my thunder by picking my girl. Give me that Becky.
Oh, hey!
There wasn't really anybody on Raw that had a stand-up performance. So if we're gonna go, I guess I gotta pick somebody on NXT. I guess I'll go with, I don't know, Jeff Hardy. Congratulations on 20 years in WWE. Who would have thought he would have been around this long?
Yeah, I know, after all the crazy stuff he's done to his body. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, let's get that promo pick of the weekend, baby! So, I pick Seth Rollins from June 4th, 2015, This is when Dean Ambrose stole the WWE World Heavyweight Championship from him, and he had to cut a promo without the title in his possession. He talks about his time with the Authority. He talks about J&J Security. Talks about his time in the Shield, and he talks about how he's gonna get Dean Ambrose for taking his title away from him. Thoughts on the promo?
Good promo by Seth. Probably better than any heel promos Dean Ambrose has cut thus far in his heel run. As I said, I wish Dean would drop the trolling the crowd gimmick and just be in the Dean Ambrose back in the Shield days, but I know all my desires can't be answered by Vince McMahon because, he's smarter than I am.
Goddamn, pal, you're right. No, I enjoy the promo. I love everything about it. All right, so the match pick of the week, Brandon. This is all you, buddy.
So we're gonna go back all the way to 1987, the first ever Survivor Series match. We're gonna go with the main event, the 10-man tag. There's so many legends in here. There's Rick Rude, Andre the Giant, Hulk Hogan. So many people in here. Just, it was historic. It happened, 31 years ago, yesterday. Not the best match in the world, and it just kind of shows how wrestling has evolved. Nowadays, there's the main event. The Survivor Series match this year wasn't all that great, but the one last year and I think the one 2 years ago have really kind of been really good matches, and it just kind of shows, the evolution of the business.
Because evolution is a mystery that no one sees. Shout out Lemmy. I watched this match before we started recording, and one thing really stood out to me. Besides the fact that it was star-studded, you got one-man gang, King Kong Bundy, Rude, Hogan, Andre, you name-dropped all those guys. The first person eliminated is Butch Reed. He is a black man. Who was he eliminated by? Hulk Hogan. Just throwing that out there.
Well, brother. If Butch Reed's got to be eliminated, he's got to put me over. So, brother,
What you're gonna do? I'm not even gonna get into a Hogan thing. Alright, so I think that's really it, ladies and gentlemen. Follow us on Twitter at BulletCast. Follow us on Instagram, The BulletCast. YouTube channel, The BulletCast. Email us, BulletCast2 is in the number 2, sweet, SWEET at gmail.com. We're on 99.9 FM K-Dub in Watsonville every Friday night. I think it's from 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. or 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. I'm going to have to check to find out. Alright, we're on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, TuneIn, Google Play, iHeartRadio. We're all over the damn place, ladies and gentlemen. Episode 96. Raw, what the F was that? Ladies and gentlemen, we are so close to episode 100. I can feel it coming. I can hear it. I don't even know how to describe it, Brandon.
I don't know. Technically, 103 is the one that counts because I haven't been here for all of them. So,
wow. Look, man, it's a huge milestone. Not a lot of things make it to 100 episodes. When the first time Friends made it to 100 episodes, that was fire. Parks and Recreation. I don't even know that show. What am I talking about? A lot of Look, the shows that make it to 100 episodes. That's my point. They're fire.
Maybe we can do a reunion and get everybody back together.
That's a lot of people. I've really thought about it. I've had a lot of people on this podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah.
But anyways,
I can feel it in my bones. 100 episodes. We're so close. We're having the BulletCast Awards, the second annual one, the Casties, as they were known. Mitchell coined that name, the guy who used to be here.
Who?
Yes. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening. Brandon, I'm going to talk to you next week. I think we will be in person together next week, I believe.
Very nice, very nice. And since Tuesday, normally the day I recorded Under the Radar, I didn't do another one. It's been almost 2 weeks since I've recorded one. I will do one on Friday to talk some of the news that we didn't talk about and any news that breaks until that time. So stay tuned for that.
Yes. All right, Brandon, thank you, buddy. I'll see you later. And to all the fans, thank you so much for listening. This has been the BulletCast. We out.
This has been the Bulletcast. Thank you for listening.